Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post another quick video here, just kind of tailing off the last video I did there. Well, there were three more finds that I had that I wanted to share, but I wanted to kind of say a bit more about this particular artist, so I just thought I'd make it a separate video so my last one wouldn't be like, 30 minutes, 40 minutes long. And the artist I want to kind of feature in this video, really cool artist. I discovered, I guess, fairly recently, but I was glad that they finally actually did, on some cases, an issue, and other cases some reissues of some of her stuff, because it's always been so extremely hard to find, especially if you want something in good condition. But the artist is Betty Davis. And I'd be very curious if you do leave a comment down below to let me know if you've heard of her or heard of any of her songs before, me mentioning it here in this video. Because I think a lot of people probably have not, even though she is one of the most innovative and incredible things that's ever happened to funk music, actually. Mike Judge, who does a series on is it HBO or Cinemax, something like that, called Tales from the Tour Bus, which is a really cool series. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out, because basically what he does is kind of a not a documentary type of thing, but he basically goes and gets interviews and all this stuff from actual band members and tour managers and all that stuff of just the stories of different artists. And he's done like two series on James Brown. He did I think he did one or two on Rick James. He did one on Morris Day from Morris Day and the Time, and he did one on Betty Davis. And again, it's just kind of awesome storytelling stuff. It's really, really interesting stuff. And I was really glad to see that he did the one on Betty Davis, because again, she's not as well known as other artists. But just to kind of give you a quick background about her, to give you an idea about her creativity and what she brought in her music. Let's just put it this way, just to keep it kind of simple. She was married to Miles Davis. She came from the fashion world. She was a model, and then she married Miles Davis. She's given a lot of credit for being the person who took Miles Davis from his more kind of straight cut traditional stuff that he was doing when he started getting into, the Bitches Brew and the more psychedelic and crazy type of stuff and all of that. She's credited for being a lot of that influence of sharing that type of stuff with him, mainly because her best friends at the time were Jimi Hendrix. She was really good friends with him. She had, I think, kind of dated and had a thing with Eric Clapton for a while. Robert Palmer, so these are the type of, when you think about, well, if she decides to go into music later on, what are the influences that would be there? Miles Davis, Hendrix, Clapton, Palmer, yeah, I mean, even Shum, the guitar player from Journey, he was a part of her band for a while as well. Lou Graham from Sly and the Family Stone, the bass player, I stressed that, from Sly and the Family Stone, he played as part of her band too. So again, just think about those influences. Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Robert Palmer, Shum, Larry Graham with Sly and the Family. Whatever comes out of your head just has to have some type of coolness to it, and that's totally what you get. As a matter of fact, even with some of the different elements that came out of her music, there was a time period where Kiss was thinking about putting her on tour with them as their opening act. So, yes, I mean, just a really cool girl coming from a really, really cool background. So you have, Betty Davis, self-titled here. I forgot the year on this. I think it was 73. And then you also have Nasty Girl. Just that one there. And then Betty Davis, Is It Love or Desire? And there's she has one more album. I'm not sure if they reissued that one yet, but yeah, these are all reissues, of course. And just kind of really cool stuff. I'll talk a little bit about maybe some of the specific songs on here. But one of the other things I thought that was really cool, which I actually learned from that documentary, I didn't know this prior, even with knowing her, is when I was talking about her influence. You know, you go back to the album Miles Davis Bitches Brew. The album was actually originally named Miles Davis Witches Brew. It was her suggestion to change it from Witches Brew to Bitches Brew. And that's where that title came from. So again, you can see her type of influence, you know, even showing up in areas like that with Miles Davis. But yeah, she was very, again, we're talking about the 70s here. And the best way I could probably sum it up is, again, she did funk and all of that, but she was kind of 80s Madonna. Maybe that's something that more people could kind of relate with. She was kind of 80s Madonna, but for the 70s. Like, you know, she was one of the first women on stage that was kind of like, you know, I'm running things. Like, I can, you know, women are supposed to be this way, men are supposed to be that way, but I kind of like the way the men are, so I'm going to be more like them. You know, like that type of attitude type of thing. And she just wasn't afraid to really kind of just flaunt, you know, and not just from a shock perspective, but just kind of like a release type of thing. I mean, she didn't do drugs, she didn't drink, non-smoker, which how you can hang around those individuals, I would almost question that. But I guess, you know, technically, that's always what's been said about her. At least her band said, you know, she never drank, she never smoked, she never did drugs. But even when you kind of look at some of the title tracks, like stuff that I would recommend checking out by her, you know, stuff like Is It Love or Desire? The title track off of this is really good. Hoary Angel. That's another good song off of this one. Actually, this whole album actually is fairly good, but those two songs definitely want to check off of this one. Let's see, you go to her self-titled album, songs like, listen to some of these titles, like If I'm in Luck, I Might Get Picked Up, Anti-Love Song, Your Man, My Man, Game Is My Middle Name. I mean, she didn't mess around at all. But I think a really good song to check out if you're gonna, you know, listen to your first song ever by her is off of this album here, Nasty Girl, and it's the song Funk, F-U-N-K. I think that really captures kind of her, you know, the funk element that she did. I mean, she could be, you know, be right there with Parliament and all that, you know, type of funk stuff, but her vocal delivery was definitely more, just very graspy, very rough. You know, she wasn't trying to be Gladys Knight. She wasn't trying to be Aretha Franklin or anything like that. She was actually trying to mimic more of what was probably going on in the hard rock world from a vocal perspective. And so she wasn't afraid to mix all those elements together. But yeah, again, this album, Nasty Girl, the song Funk, I say would be, again, the one I would recommend checking out to really get a feel for kind of what she's like. And let me do this too. I'll pull this out here. Just show you one last thing. Because it was so funny, because I've always had that thought that, like, that Madonna thing I mentioned a while ago, that's just kind of always what I've thought and kind of felt about her. And then when I got this album, because I'd never seen it before, obviously, until I got this reissued, and I opened it up, and I was like, how much is that, like, 1980s MTV, Like a Virgin, you know, Madonna performance, blah, blah, blah. I was like, holy cow, that they could actually be shots from that performance. So again, just very influential, way ahead of her time, and just an artist that just didn't get a lot of big pub, you know. She did kind of have a mental kind of breakdown, I think, or something like that for a while, and that kind of, you know, took her away from the business or whatever. But you know, just really, really good stuff. So again, just an artist I wanted to highlight, and I'd be very curious to know, like I said, what you guys kind of know about her, and you know, if you do really like her, what your thoughts are, songs that you would recommend to people. Definitely put those down below, because I think the more people that can discover her, the better, because this is some good stuff. All right. So thanks for watching, VC, and we will talk to you guys soon.